Hi there, Geminis, and welcome to your shadow reading. So, a shadow reading is pretty much a dream reading, but going deeper into the subconscious and finding meaning there. Okay, and I'm going to be using the Tarot of Dreams guidebook so that I can help tell the story of what is going on right now in your dream world. Okay, so so that being said, I'm going to shuffle up these cards and we're going to get started. Okay, and I also have an affirmation for you: personal power. I encourage you to be the master of your destiny, Gemini. Okay, so nobody else can control your destiny like you. Because maybe you're feeling a little bit out of control right now. Like maybe somebody is trying to, like, there's no self control or something for you around certain people. Yeah, justice. Okay, so this energy really tells me that you're struggling to like find balance between people who are not in control and like what they're like, they don't have any self-control, they're not practicing any self-control. All right there, Gemini, so we also have for you this deep listening, and I invite you to inner silence where the world resounds. Okay, so right now it's the time for you to basically go in and listen to your inner voice and tune out the other sounds that are going on around you. Okay, so that being said, okay, let's take a look here at the story spread, okay? Because this is designed to encourage you to think of your life and your situation as a story, and it's an investigation, okay, into your story, and it opens your conscious mind up to tapping into those more subconscious areas of your life. And it's also basically like your ego is telling you something that might be causing you some stress right now. So you really want to find out what that is exactly, okay? So, position one, the story. This card provides an overview of the chapter of the story that you're presently living. Okay. And I also feel like there's a lot of ego centric people that are trying to wrap you into their story and their ego and try to sort of use you as an emotional soundboard. And your purpose, Gemini, is not to be other people's emotional soundboard. Okay. Your purpose is to listen to the sounds of your own inner voice and what you're trying to tell yourself. Okay, so this justice card, it is going to let us know what kind of present energy you're living in. And I'm really glad this card came out because it really is all about balance and the sign Libra, which is justice energy. Okay, and you're wanting justice for a situation that is leaving you feel very vulnerable right now. Okay, so let's take a look here at this justice energy. The principles of fairness, being too judgmental, fighting for the disfranchised or the disposed, lack of bias. Okay, so so you want to fight for those that deserve justice, but that doesn't mean that you should involve yourself with people who are being too judgmental towards you. Okay, and basically, there's a Hebrew letter here, lamd, means ox goad. The doctrines of justice will remain purely theoretical without the means of some kind of discipline, the ox goad, to enforce them. Okay? So there has to be some sort of system of justice, okay? And also here in astrology, Libra is the sign of the balanced, harmonious environment, which is the natural goal of the laws of justice, okay? So you want justice, all right? But I'm getting the sense that, you know, there's this feeling here that Those who lack sight or hearing, who have other disabilities, can serve as powerful representations of basic life energies just as effectively. In fact, this idea is in keeping the whole point of the Justice card. Okay, so there's a thing here where you want to fight for people who deserve to be fought for. You know, people who don't intentionally look toward, emotionally manipulating others, okay? Or taking advantage of people and their vulnerabilities, okay? That's not justice. That's injustice. So here you come along, Gemini, trying to fight the good fight for those who need fair representation and advocate for fairness and justice in the world. But you're going to come across, those evil forces that don't see everyone as equal, that don't see everything as balanced or fair, that keep tipping the scales in their favor. And I want you to avoid those people as much as possible, because participants in our system, okay, or of law must often fight to avoid being influenced by the powerful. Okay, so this woman here is armored because often in life we must fight to be treated fairly or to win fair treatment for the disenfranchised or dispossessed. Participants in our system of law must often fight to avoid being influenced by the powerful. She holds the two pans of scale with complete equilibrium. The ideal of justice is that it be applied even-handedly. Although this ideal is rarely achieved, it is still the ideal and a cause for hope. Okay? So don't lose hope here. Don't lose sight of what is important to you. Okay, Gemini? Now, we have the rest of the story. Okay? And this card describes your conscious mind or your ego, what it thinks about the story and what it thinks the story is in the final analysis. Okay? And we have the Five of Coins, the injustice, the, unhoused woman here outside in the cold, in the snow. There's a church with pentacles. You'd think, oh, the church is going to help her and save her and let her in. But she's outside in the cold and she holds a baby close to her. Okay. So you've been here before, Gemini. You have been one of the disenfranchised, the dispossessed. Okay. Like you probably have at some point in your life, Gemini, been unhoused or been struggling financially as a single mom. Maybe the money from the biological father or wasn't being given to you, which is going against the laws and the legal system, and because that person has money, they can that's corruption, right? They can use their money and influence and power to not help you, right? Or to not help the child, right? But you are the opposite of that. You are the one fighting for justice, for the financial, support for you and your child. Okay. Also, I feel like, there's a lot of other causes that you want to fight for. Okay. And let's see here, this Five of Coins. Okay. So this is misfortune, going to extremes to protect loved ones, being let down by social institutions, a poor me frame of mind. Okay, you don't have a poor me frame of mind, okay, Gemini, but the person who does have a poor me frame of mind is the one who owes you money. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about corruption here, okay? And they are going to extremes to protect their own financial money. Okay, they don't see you as family. They don't see you as someone they're supposed to protect. Okay, that's where that corruption and that evil energy comes into play, because a lot of times rich people with money will think of you as less than equal, or think of you as like an opportunist, like trying to gain money, access to their money, or trying to manipulate you, okay, or manipulate them or whatever. But they're really the ones manipulating you. Okay, they're the ones who really used you. Okay, Gemini. Now, that's why let down by social institutions, okay, is because you're fighting against a system that's designed to help you, okay, Gemini, but unfortunately, because of corruption and because of, rich people putting money in politicians' pockets, okay, you aren't able to get the help and support you need. And that's why fighting for it is such a just and noble cause. A woman dressed in rags stands outside a church in a driving snowstorm. In one arm, she holds a bundled up infant, and with the other, she holds out a cup which she begs for 8 alms. This is a complex card which can have several interpretations. It could simply mean misfortune. No matter how well off we may be at present, the possibility always exists that the wheel of fortune will turn and leave us disenfranchised. And the misfortune need not be physical. We could be dealing with emotional, mental, or creative misfortune. Okay? You will need to be careful examining the card in the context of the question and other cards in the spread to determine which meaning is the most appropriate. Okay, astrology, your mind, Mercury, is placing too much emphasis on physical comforts or the lack thereof, Taurus. And I feel like what's happening here is there's someone who definitely owes you money, okay, Gemini, but they're not giving you the money that they owe you. Okay, based on the judicial system and the laws of the government. They're actually using their money and their money to avoid, you see what I'm saying, avoid their responsibilities and their legal obligations, okay? And that's corruption. So that leaves you in a place of feeling like, oh my God, what do I do, right? Like, how do I provide for myself? How do I provide for my child? How do I survive this? And you will survive it because you're not giving up the fight. You are fighting for justice and you're not giving up, okay? Now, position 3, what you get. This describes the physical circumstances in which you will find yourself if your story continues on its present path. Okay, and we have the hanging man. Okay, so what does this tell you? Okay, for me, this feels like the pretext. Okay, it feels like a pretense. Like before justice comes in, this hangman energy has to show itself. Okay, it has to be exposed. Okay, because you have a man here who's very exposed. Okay, so this like violation on your safety and your well-being, okay, Gemini, has to be exposed. It has to be brought to justice. Okay, so what's happening here is you're feeling like a very serious attack on what you know you deserve and what's rightfully yours, and you're not being given it. The abundance that you deserve is not coming in here, and it has a lot to do with you having to fight for it, okay, and not giving up on that fight. Okay, self-sacrifice, ignoring societal expectations, gaining new perspectives, playing the martyr. Okay, so Mem means water. The hanging man hangs over the deep waters of the subconscious. Astrology, Neptune. Neptune is the planet of separating oneself from individual distinctions and merging with the collective unconscious. Okay, the energy shown in this card can be taken to extremes. Sometimes we find ourselves being self-sacrificing to a fault. In other words, playing the martyr. At other times, we may swim against the tide simply because we like to play the role of nonconformist. The hanging man is one of the most mysterious and evocative images in the tarot deck. Any attempt at interpretation will fall short of the visceral impact of this deceptively simple image. When dealing with this card, written interpretations can help, but in the end, the best way to unravel the image is to use its own mystery. Okay, he turns his back on societal expectations and on the mental structures he has already created for himself. And a reading this card may simply mean that someone is seeking a new perspective on things. Okay, and that's the thing here. Okay, the machinery at the top of this card, as another card, represents the working of our conscious minds. The water at the bottom suggests the depths of the subconscious. Our hanging man is seen in the act of driving from its conscious into subconscious. The hanging man is not simply plugging off the deep end into his subconscious mind, but rather making a deliberate and well-planned foray into new territory. The rules of the waking mind in the everyday world won't work in this inner landscape, but he is still making an essentially rational decision to venture there. And that's what we're dealing with here. Is we're dealing with somebody who that ego is coming into play here, and someone is using the factors of coming up with lies and coming up with stories of their own ego so they don't have to oblige to this five of coins that's very apparently there. They can just act and ignore that five of coin energy and almost play this role of like they're in the five of coins energy. They're not the ones raising a kid here. Okay, you are Gemini. They're not the ones doing the work here. You are Gemini. Okay, so this is obviously very specific to a specific situation, but I figure it's like it has to do with like what you feel. Okay, this card explores our emotional roots and foundations at your present circumstance. This is where you'll find hidden emotional motivations. Okay, because this person is trying to play games with you. Okay, they know the rules of engagement. Okay, but they aren't willing to play by the rules. They want to change the rules to fit their own agenda. And you are playing by the rules of life, and you are taking those rules very seriously because Gemini, you have that ability within you. Okay, because you're channeling this like Librian justice energy, okay, and this very grounded energy in reality. They're not playing in reality here. They're playing in a different world where reality does not apply to them. Okay, yeah, we have the Six of Wands. The gate is opening. The portal is opening. The light is coming in. The truth is coming out. Aries energy. Okay, you're not going to sit on the sidelines while someone else steals the show. And Aries doesn't do that. Okay, you're not going to do that either, Gemini. You are taking over from here. You are setting the tone. Okay. So when they don't meet your expectations, when they don't meet you where you're at, game over. They've already lost. You have already won. Now it's just become like a waiting game where now you have to engage with more authoritative figures like Aries energy. Okay, it's a very like it presents. This is an emotional thing for you. Okay, for sure. So we're going to look at the Six of Wands because your emotions are tied to the survival and the well-being that comes with protecting, an infant child. Okay, so Six of Wands here, victory. Okay, I'm sorry. This is the Four of Wands. I got my Roman numerals mixed up, but still victory. I feel like that's like, I was meant to read that for you. Safety, security, taking concrete action in order to create the changes you desire. You, Gemini. It doesn't matter what this like knucklehead is trying to do. It doesn't matter what these egocentric people are trying to do. Because you are the one that's actually doing the work here, and you're the one who actually deserves to be paid for the work you do and get the respect you deserve. So you're going to put in all that time, all that effort, all that energy, and you're going to get your abundance. You're going to get your victory. You're going to get your success here and your safety and your security, because that is crucial and that is important, Gemini. Anyone who tries to jeopardize your safety and your security doesn't belong in your life. And now they owe you for jeopardizing that. Okay, that's that scales balancing and tipping in your favor, Gemini, not the other way around. Because for so long, Gemini, I feel like you have always felt like, why are the scales always tipping in the favor of some lunatic, of some evil-ass villain who's completely and totally just lives in denial, does not live in reality, okay? You didn't want to play their game. You didn't want to play their rules. That's your freedom of choice as a human, because you're living by ethical means. You're living by moral standards. They are not. Okay? There's no gray area here for you, Gemini. It's black and white. Okay? It's good and bad. And they're operating in a bad way. And they're going to pay for it. They will pay for it. Okay? So as we stand in a forest, we see looming above the treetops a striking vision. 4 towering wands or columns reaching to the sky. An enormous wooden door swinging slowly open, revealing a blinding light. Behind the columns and the door, a huge red moon hangs in the sky. The columns suggest sturdiness and stability, especially when we consider that there are 4 of them. Since the number 4 traditionally symbolizes solidity and security, the doors also suggest stability since they imply a structure that provides safety from the elements and from an attack. This safety and stability is juxtaposed in the card with elements of extreme unreality. This demonstrates that all endeavors and projects which begin as dreams or visualizations of change must at some point in their progress begin to manifest themselves in the real world, or else be doomed to remain airy visions. Yeah. When this card appears in a reading, now is the time to open the door. In other words, to take concrete action to create the change you desire. Venus and Aries. Venus and Aries. You create an environment to your liking, Venus, in a direct and forceful way, Aries. Venus energy is in another card, and that is an Empress energy. And the Empress energy is the mother archetype. She's the loving, nurturing, caring, responsible mother energy. Venus, goddess of love. Okay? So you are the mother here. You are the protector here. You are the empress here. You are showing love and kindness through protecting the child, protecting the infant. Okay? And you're going to do it in a forceful way. You are going to use the justice system, the judicial system. You are going to use the laws that have been written, not in the, dream world where somebody imagined a world where moms could take care of their children financially, even if the biological father decided, oh, I don't care. Well, you better start caring, because you're going to be forced to if you don't. And that became a real reality. Okay, so someone had to come up with that idea to help moms and their kids out, and now you get to benefit from it. So the reality is simple here. Okay, it's easy. You understand it, Gemini. The only problem is this hangman energy is someone who is trying to manufacture and manipulate the system so that they don't owe any responsibility. They don't owe you anything. Actually think again. You do, and you're gonna pay, or else. That's the law. That has been written. We're not talking even spiritual here anymore. We're talking consciously here. So your subconscious is telling you, you're ready for this fight. You're going to get up and fight. Okay? You're putting it together. You're getting prepared here. Okay? Now we move into what you deserve, right? The card shows what you expect on an emotional level. We have that already. We have that 4 of Wands here, but we're going to get some more info. We have the Magician. Whoa, watch out. Whoever's messing with you, Gemini, is going to meet this fateful fate, this Magician energy, Gemini. Yeah. Yup. Look out, right? So that's someone messing with you, Gemini. They're going to get what's coming. The Magician don't play. He's coming around. He's like, oh, you got the Justice card here? Just wait for me to show up. This is like that Gandalf, Dumbledore magic here that we all love, right? We all love Gandalf. We all love Dumbledore, okay? He is, essentially the wisest, most intuitive leader of the group, right? He helps Harry Potter. He helps Frodo. It's a beautiful energy. Okay, so we have the Magician card. Okay, yeah, you definitely deserve a Magician to come up in this bit. Yeah, you need the Magician to come up in here and start some stuff. Okay, so I love this. All right, so this Magician wields a lot of power. His role is, helping those who are just starting out their journey to make them believe they can get through this, okay? To help them believe in themselves, okay? Education, training, knowledge, common sense, opportunities, translating thoughts and plans into actions, okay? Whoever's messing with you, Gemini, they don't have an education in life, okay? And how the rules are played, okay? They try to do people dirty all the time, and Not going to happen here. Okay. And also, they don't have any common sense, because if they did, they wouldn't have messed with you to begin with, Gemini. Okay. So, let's see here. The magician's throne sits on a stone disc which floats above the clouds. Okay, they show up in the darkest of times. Okay, the infinity symbol tells us that we have the ability to learn from our mistakes and to find inspiration is always with us, even in the darkest times. Okay, and that's a thing. Okay, this person just keeps saying, well, you made a mistake by trusting me, so I guess that's on you now. Oh, no, no, no. No, 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 Gemini. That ain't how we play. Okay, so let's see here. We have flexibility, adaptability is needed in order to fully implement the magician's teachings. In his hands, he holds a long staff topped with a complicated curling design, just like Gandalf. It curls as seen as snakes, and the staff is reminiscent of the caduceus, which is an ancient Greek symbol represent a herald. Okay, the magician card could certainly be seen as a herald, bringing us word of conclusions reached by subconscious processes in our minds. The caduceus is also a common symbol of Hermes, messenger god of the ancient Greeks. Okay, getting those new messages coming in. Okay, we have the Hebrew letter Beth, means house. Okay, the magician allows us to begin building a rudimentary mental dwelling from which we can observe and learn from the world. And astrology, Mercury is the planet of thinking and communicating. Okay, and that's what you're doing here, is you're thinking and you're communicating. Okay, you're coming up with a strategy, you're coming up with a plan here, and you're backed by the magician. Okay, so like the Padawan, like, you know, Jedis, like Yoda and Luke Skywalker, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay, we got it. Okay, you are learning. You're learning about the Force. Okay, you're learning about light versus dark. Okay, so it's a common theme in many major stories, okay, like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, okay, Harry Potter, okay. So this is nothing new to you, Gemini, but it's something that your subconscious really wants to remind you of here. Is like, this is what's happening. This is what you're battling right now. This is what you're dealing with right now in your shadow world, in your shadow just life. Okay, there's one aspect where you don't have to deal with this crap, and then there's another aspect where you're like, dang, now it's time to get up and fight. And this is what you were born to do, Gemini, is get up and fight and not give up. Okay, do not give up. You got this. All right, I've been there myself personally with my own struggles, with dealing with very similar story here. Okay, but we all got each other's back. We're not alone in this, and that's the important thing. Okay, to remind yourself. Now we have the card number 6. Whew, what you tell. Okay, this shows how you present yourself to others and how you express yourself. Okay, and if you're wondering how I have so much energy right now, brand drop. Okay, we need some ads in here. Okay, I need to be paid to do some advertising. We have Celsius Peach Vibe Edition. Okay, so get your Celsius now. It has no high fructose corn syrup, no aspartame, no artificial colors, essential vitamins proven in 6 published university studies. Okay, how does it work? Celsius Property Meta Plus formula, including green tea with EGCG, ginger and guarana seed, turns our thermogenesis, a process that boosts your body's metabolism rate. All right, there you go. The Celsius Peach Vibe. Get some sponsors, some ad. Hopefully the algorithm will help with that. That was fine. But let's see what you tell. Ooh, we got the Palace of Coins. There's your abundance. There's your castle. There's your magical, beautiful, fairy forest. Okay. And there's the stag. And that was Harry Potter's Patronus, his dad's Patronus, right? I think his mom's was the doe. And there's a wise owl up there. Okay. Wisdom. Okay. So you are listening to your wise teachers, your spirit guides, your mentors. You are channeling in their energy, and you are going to fight the good fight, and you are going to get what you deserve. You're going to get your security. You're going to get your safety. You're going to get your abundance, because you are fighting and you are not giving up on that fight. Okay? So we have the Palace of Coins. The other palaces are fun places to visit, but the Palace of Coins is where we live. Okay, here is where we feel safe and secure, where we can tend to our earthly needs, where we can be kings and queens of our own castle. Here also we can experience the four elemental energies as fully human attributes: the intellectual owl, the impetuous deer, the moody frog, and the mundane mouse. The mountains in the background are more distant than in the Palace of Wands. The dreams and goals remain, but home is always waiting when we need a rest from the journey. And that's the thing. That's why you want to feel safe and secure in your home, because after this long journey of battling this dark foe, this evil villain in your story, okay, I know it sucks, Gemini, but you got this, okay? You want a place to go home and feel safe and secure. The villain in your story that's starting up stuff with you, Gemini, they don't want you to feel safe and secure in your home. And that ain't gonna fly. We're not gonna do that. No. Stop messing with Geminis, okay? Because that's not cool. Not cool at all. All right. So we have position 7, what you are. Okay. The parts of yourself that have been determined by the physical circumstances of your upbringing. Okay. Oh, yes. There's your Queen of Coins. You're the queen of the castle, Gemini. There you go. Why do people keep messing with the queen? I don't understand. Like, who do they think they are? It's hilarious. Okay. I love that she's holding like this beautiful bouquet of daffodils. I love daffodils in the spring. It's a beautiful energy coming through here. You know, you're protecting your home, your safety, your security, and this other energy just keeps knocking on the door wanting to mess with that. I don't like that. Okay. But here we go. We got the Queen of Coins. Okay. So this energy is going to tell us how we can resolve this through the Queen of Coins energy. All right. We've got the personality, okay? We've got the stage of development, the approach, and the astrology. 2/3 Capricorn, 1/3 Sagittarius. The Queen applies gentle discipline, Capricorn, in order to provide the ideal home base from which her loved ones can expand the horizon, Sagittarius. And that's what you want. You want to expand your horizons. You want to feel safe. It's gentle discipline. We're not trying to, be like a Marine boot camp here, okay? No offense, but that's a pretty harsh environment. No kid wants to live that way. No parent and no queen, no person wants to live in a constant state of that. No, thank you. But we want to allow the space and room for growth without being too harsh or too overbearing or too punishment mentality. And the Queen of Coins is like, I need a gentle, safe, secure place. Does this look like a terrible war zone environment? No, it looks like a beautiful fairy tale forest. Okay, beautiful, peaceful, tranquil, calm, loving, kind, peaceful, comfortable. Okay, so the Queen's job and role is to do that, is to provide that, is to create that. And that's what you're doing, Gemini. But you keep getting attacks on you. And you're like, you know what? I see what you're doing. It's not okay. Stop doing that. People who are evil and negative and rude don't care. And they don't want to listen. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, you just keep being beautiful, you Gemini, and let karma do the rest. Okay, let justice do the rest. Okay, so we have stage of development, a period of quiet enjoyment of material pleasures, a time to give to others and allow others to give to you. Approach, queens are feeling. The suit of coins deals with the material world, and the queen suggests that you appreciate and enjoy physical things and sensations, including peace and calmness in your life. Okay. So she holds a spray of flowers in which she intends to decorate her home for the pleasure of her family. Like all queens, the Queen of Coins is mature and serene presence. She is more likely to try to train a branch to grow in a different direction rather than to lop it off. Without making a fuss, she quietly plans her environment and nurtures her loved ones. Yeah, and you're allowed to request that whoever is supposed to legally help maintain that follow their obligations, okay? But there's a sense where someone is crossing lines and boundaries and rules because they feel entitled to do so. And they're making up their own rules of engagement that do not align with your rules of engagement, and therefore you're up against that, okay? But you're still showing up and presenting yourself a certain way, and that's all you need to do. Now we move into what you need, okay? This card shows what you feel you need to be happy on a physical level. In other words, what level of physical comfort or security you need, or what level of risk. No risk, no reward, okay? So let's see here, because this is all about your physical level and happiness. We need an Ace of Coins. Yeah, we do. Okay, Gemini, look at that giant pentacle. Okay, so, and there's the stag again. Okay, so we need someone who is divine masculine energy, someone who's strong, someone who's going to lift us up, hold us up, keep everything together, a protector, a safeguard. I'm getting like, this could be a soulmate energy, or it could be you channeling in this energy, because you are not, there aren't a lot of like divine masculines out there. A lot of them are distorted and they don't respect women or boundaries with women. But this Ace of Coins says that that's not what you deserve. You deserve someone who does want you to feel safe and protected, someone who doesn't put a tax on you, that and wants you to have your abundance too. Okay. They know you deserve it. So Ace of Coins. Okay. That's the difference between a soulmate, and, you know, not a soulmate. Okay. And I did just do soulmate readings, last month, finished them up, you know, this month, but, definitely if you're interested in finding more about your love, romantic life, and that energy and that aspect, definitely check out your soulmate reading. Okay. There, Gemini. So Ace of Coins, a new opportunity or interest in material matters, such as money. Where's my money? No, just kidding. Health, exercise, food, constructing something physical, the resources to make progress in these areas. An immensely strong bearded man coalesces out of the mist in a forest setting. On his breastplate is the elemental glyph for Earth. He holds up a huge coin. In the foreground stands a stag. The image suggests Vulcan. Oh, I was just watching Star Trek. Okay, I like Vulcan energy, okay? The Roman god of the forge, who created physical objects out of raw materials mined from the earth. Coins in general stand for material values, and the Ace of Coins represents a new start in material matters. Perhaps you have developed a new interest in something having to do with money or health. Aces often indicate unexpected opportunities, so you may find or be gifted with the raw materials you need to make progress in these areas. And that is true. That is very true. It's that spiritual feeling, that soulful feeling that, you know, you deserve more abundance, and now that's being turned into something material. It's materializing. You're manifesting it. You're making it a reality. You're saying, okay, universe, I need my money. And then the universe is like, all right, got you. Let's get to work here. Let's make this a reality. Let's make this happen. Okay. So you're seeing that coming to fruition, and you're getting like really excited and really happy about it. And I think your soulmate, okay, is someone who wants you to have that. They want you to have money. They want you to have financial stability. They want you to have the security of the palace of coins that you need. Okay. A palace ain't free. Okay. But it is something that is attainable. Okay. When you fight for justice, when you channel your magician energy. Okay. When you embrace who you truly are, Gemini, okay, and you know who you truly are, okay, you're a king and queen, whatever, take how it resonates, okay, but you are knowing what you deserve and how you know you deserve to be treated. And that's the most important, valuable lesson here. Okay. And then we have here what you expect. Okay. This shows your conscious mind or ego expects of the future. And we all have an ego. Okay. But the thing is, we don't let our ego overshadow, overtake, over control, and overpower what we know needs to be done, and reality here sets in. That's the thing you're dealing with, is you're dealing with all these people that like let their ego just take over and steer the ship and not be in reality here and not make sense of things here. And it's like, wow, that's some really unchecked, unbalanced energy you got over there. Okay. But you don't need to worry about that, because that's what you have the justice card for. That's what you have, these real systems that when you know how to work them and achieve them and use them for good, you will get your abundance. The other people are using it for evil and to do terrible things. They're not going to get their abundance. They might, in a way, already have their abundance. You know, they might already be rich and corrupt or whatever. But karma always finds a way. I've seen it. I've witnessed it firsthand. Karma always finds a way. And I don't know what to tell them, your haters, Gemini, but guess you got to start doing some shadow work, right? You can tell them they need to do some shadow work, okay? So, sorry, not sorry. I guess the truth. That's the reality of it. Oh my God, tree of life. Yes, this is it all coming together. All these different like signs and symbols are like making sense of what is it that you are building here. You're building a tree here, a family tree, a foundation. You're planting roots. You're planting that seed in your own life that says, I deserve abundance. I deserve safety. I deserve security. Okay, so maybe that's like 3 seeds, but it's all going to grow into this one big, beautiful tree. Okay, it's all of these beautiful little ingredients that are going to make this beautiful, delicious cake for you to enjoy, or this beautiful meal, right? And you are going to get to share it with your family and your friends, your soul tribe, your soul family, right? Those that are important and matter to you. Yeah, judgment. Yep, that's right, judgment. Okay. Yeah, that is really, an interesting way to end this all. Okay, so let me tell you about judgment here. Is because that's that karmic energy that sees that people have judged you wrongly. Okay, Gemini, people have been harsh and cruel to you and used you, and they're going to have to go through their own shadow journey in order to redeem themselves and make things right. But you, Gemini, don't need to worry about that. You just need to stay on your path and build your safety, build your security, and focus on that, and the rest will all sort itself, okay? So Shin means tooth. As the shedding of baby teeth and the growing of adult teeth signals a new phase of maturity, so the judgment card initiates us into a new phase of awareness, okay? Pluto is the planet of transformation and regeneration. And that's what this is all about. This is what shadow work is all about. It's all about transformation. It's all about regeneration. The phoenix rising from the ashes, right? The metamorphosis of a butterfly going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. Like the hungry little caterpillar child storybook, okay? You eat a bunch of food and then you go in your cocoon and you come out a beautiful butterfly. The food is that knowledge. It's that information. It's those experiences. It's those challenges that you are feeding yourself so you can grow and learn and expand your wings and fly. And now you're the mentor. Now you're the teacher. Now you're the Yoda teaching the Padawans. Like, this is part of the developmental stage. Some people never get there because they never want to do the work. But you don't need to worry about that. You just say what you got to say your piece, clarify it. That's a gentle discipline. That's the teacher energy, the magician energy. You're like, you know what? I'm going to stop you right there, right? That ain't working. That's not okay. And then you just keep going and you just keep moving. And sometimes silence is the best response. So in this reading, as with the other cards, you must often bring the cosmological or spherical implications down to earth in order to relate them to the current situation. Okay, the Judgment card can simply refer to gaining a wider or higher perspective, or heeding a call to follow a particular path or take a particular action. Okay, yeah, okay, and this is basically saying that when you trust yourself and you trust your intuition, and when you reach that higher consciousness state of mind and being, you already know you're on the right path. You can feel it in your bones. You can feel it in your soul that you're on the right path. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that. And if you want a little bit of an idea of your soulmate reading and you want to go and watch that, I have for you magnetism. There is a gravitational pull to each other. Okay, so if you're wondering about that, and you can check out your soulmate reading. And also, I have for you, healing is your superpower. So as you fight for justice and what you know is right in your heart, in your soul, okay, Gemini, that is your healing. You are now healing because of that, and you are becoming more powerful because of that, because you are trusting in your ability to know the difference between right and wrong, and what is just and what is unjust, and you are fighting for justice, and that is all that matters. Some people go through their whole life with never understanding that concept, never knowing what that concept even means or that reality. And that's a real shame. But you yourself, Gemini, cannot worry about that. You have to just keep on your path, on your journey, and keep trusting in yourself and believing in yourself and your spirit guides and your soul family, your soul tribe, your mentors, and you will get there. And the cards are already showing that you're like there, okay? But now you're waiting for all that abundance to come in, and it's coming. All right. Maybe you already got it. I don't know. You let me know, but it's there. That energy is there. Alrighty, Gemini, thank you so much for watching. Love and light always. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.